In 2025, I've made 75k USD of profit with only 3,500 newsletter subscribers. And I did that by mailing one article per week, posting one YouTube video per week, and running a few promos during the year. And I run this business entirely by myself, and this system takes an average of 4 hours of work per day with only 2 days of one-on-one client work per week. And it took me about 4 years to find a business model that finally gave me the freedom and income stability to stop chasing therapy and coaching clients. And in this video, I'll break down the entire system for you. And if you join my newsletter below, I'll send you a full report about my business structure and how to start implementing the same system. I'm Rafael Krieger, and let's get into it. So, as many therapists and coaches, I spent years dreaming about having a full practice because I wanted to have clients every single day. And I mentally crunched the numbers several times. If I had 10 weekly clients paying me $150 per session, I would have an easy 6k months, and I would continue. Imagine if it were 14 weekly clients, because that's already 100k per year. I mean, wow, it should be so simple. But the problem is that this math rarely works because you have to deal with cancellations, no-shows, and early dropouts. But of course, as you become seasoned, you tighten your cancellation policy, raise your fees, and start attracting better clients. But there's only so much you can do when your only source of income is trading all of your time for money. And you have to face the fact that your income ceiling is quite low because once you reach your capacity, that's it. So the harsh truth is that relying on one-on-one client work is a broken system, because even when you have a full practice, everything always depends on your availability. But what happens when you get sick, or when you have to care for someone in your family, or when it's holiday season and people suddenly stop for a whole month? I mean, if you're not present, everything falls apart. One day of work can easily cost you $1,000 less at the end of the month, while a holiday season can pretty much slash your income in half. So it's brutal, because even when things are running smoothly and clients keep coming, not having the option to step back makes you live on the edge of an emotional burnout. And that's precisely what happened to me. After not having any vacations for 4 years straight, I just couldn't take it any longer, and having all of my income attached to one-on-one client work, it started feeling like a prison. And yes, I was making decent money, but it was costing me my health, my marriage, and a whole life I was missing outside of work. So that's when I knew I had to do things differently and build an actual business, so I could finally have my time back. So my goal was to implement a business model that allowed me to make at least 100k per year, that gave me the freedom to step back from one-on-ones when I wanted, and provided income stability by having multiple sources of income. So now I can take a day off on a random Thursday, I can take my wife for a fancy dinner on a quiet Monday night, because these are the best ones when everything's empty. And I can also go to the gym at 2 p.m. when it's also pretty much empty. It's great because apart from having my time back, another thing I love about this business model is that it allows me to satisfy my creative urge and fully develop my talents. Because I didn't only want to make money, I also wanted to make a meaningful impact. And nowadays, people message me every week telling me how my book, my courses, and my articles, videos changed their lives, and this is absolutely priceless. So let's talk about the business model now. Firstly, I started from scratch. No network, no followers, and no big accounts promoting my work. And I also didn't spend any money on ads. So this means I found a way to make it work even with a small audience. Secondly, the model had to be simple enough so I could run everything by myself part-time. So let's break down the entire system now. So the common advice for online therapists and coaches is to go all in on Instagram. And maybe you are even getting some clients from this platform, but I'll show you why relying on platforms is a dead end. So my biggest business related regret is not having started in newsletters sooner. And it took me years to realize that my email list is the most valuable asset in my entire business. Because when you are dependent on platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, and even YouTube, you are essentially building your business on somebody else's land. So this means that they can change your deliverability at any time, shadow ban you for no reason, and even terminate your account. So years of work can evaporate in a few moments. You also have to pay for your content to be delivered, especially on Instagram, and also deal with platform decline. I mean, is anyone still using Facebook? So, in other words, having an email list is the only way to truly own your audience and protect yourself from the infamous algorithm and any changes in social media platforms. So, people who choose to be on your email list are generally warmer, more responsive, and they take time to read your content. And that's why email consistently delivers a superior ROI than any other platform. So this means you don't have to obsess over gaining 100,000 followers. That's absolutely nonsense. I mean, I just said I've made 75K of profit with only 3,500 newsletter subscribers. This should tell you something. And right now, I'm optimizing for 100K profit by creating new offers every month instead of every 2 or 3 months like I did last year. And I'll get into that soon. But that's why having a newsletter-based business is the only way to start gaining your time back, as you can run evergreen email sequences to attract high-paying clients and also make core sales. So this means that you can write your emails once and keep reusing them again and again. And this leads us to the next step, as behind every newsletter-based business lies a specific content strategy and one crucial skill. So when I started my online therapy business, I quickly realized that being a good therapist wasn't enough. And I had to learn how to communicate well what I did. You see, many therapists are great at their jobs, but all of their knowledge is implicit. So this means that they can get their clients good results, but they can't fully explain their methodology to others. And this isn't a problem if you work in an office that runs its own marketing and gets you referrals. But if you want to create an actual online business, you will have to make your knowledge and methodology explicit so you can communicate it to others. And that's why the one skill you have to master to create content that sells your services and products is writing. Now, the foundation of a good content strategy is becoming world-class at solving one profitable problem. So the common advice is always to niche down, but being ultra specific can be limiting for many therapists. And after years of trial and error, I learned that people hire you based on a specific problem they want help with. So this means that instead of trying to have a well-defined avatar, such as married anxious men or women aged 30 to 40, you simply have to show people you know how to solve their problems and the niche will come to you. So here's an example. In the past 2 years, about 80% of my clients, maybe 90% to be honest, came from a series of videos and articles called Conquering the Puer Aeternus and Puella Aeternum. And in it, I described the effects and how to solve a negative mother and father complex. And to my surprise, I worked with both men and women in their early 20s all the way to their 60s. And this is absolutely crazy. But it became clear to me that focusing on one profitable problem is far more important than simply niching down. And yeah, for some people, it might make sense to be ultra specific, like if you're focusing on first-time moms. I mean, that's pretty much the niche. But for the majority of professionals, it's better to focus on problems rather than avatars. And I experimented with a few things, before finding my profitable problems. But I advise you to focus on something you have direct experience with. And most importantly, that you already solved it in your life or for other people. But once you understand your profitable problems, such as anxiety, depression, perfectionism, narcissism, CPTSD, or even attachment, it's time to start creating your library of high-quality content. So when I first started creating content online, I felt like I had to achieve the thousands of likes and views. But then I realized that this is the most terrible business metric, because content that sells products and services doesn't go viral. Because what goes viral is generic, superficial, and most of the time it's just cringe. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not going to film myself doing stupid dances, and I'm not going to film myself eating a burger to break the pattern with a dumb question on the screen to just engage my profile. And in fact, I advise you to forget about short form content entirely, such as shorts, reels, or spending all of your time crafting stories for Instagram, and go all in on long form content, such as high quality videos and articles. So long form content is what generates trust and allows you to reveal your expertise, and this is what gets you clients, not posting stories on Instagram. And the final goal here is to create an evergreen library of content that people can binge watch and read several articles in a row, because this accelerates the process of people becoming clients and also allows you to sell courses on autopilot. I have several clients who join my one-on-one mentorship within a few days of knowing me because they binge watched my playlist on YouTube. And I have several customers who buy my courses after receiving 3 or 4 emails. Again, that is the power of long-form content. And the big picture I want you to understand is that learning how to write content that sells is that this is the skill that will allow you to free yourself from one-on-one client work later on. Because once you know your profitable problem inside out and you can communicate your methodology, then structuring courses, running live workshops, and creating landing page that sells your products becomes natural. And also, creating good content allows you to test your ideas and discover what your clients want. And this feedback is crucial to creating your offers. Again, few people understand that creating good content is what actually gets you high-paying clients and sells your products and services. And finally, you have to direct the people who are consuming your content to your newsletter and products. And the more aligned your content is with your offers, the greater the conversion. Now, the foundation to grow your newsletter is creating a good lead magnet. So this means that in every piece of content you create, you have to offer something interesting so people will give you their email. But this interesting thing has to be aligned with your offers, because your lead magnet has the fundamental objective of promoting a mindset shift to prepare people to take the next step, whether that be a one-on-one mentorship or a product. So here are 3 examples. I have a series of videos and articles discussing the problem of the poor returners, in which I offer a free guide to help them solve it, and in the end I plug my course Conquering the Poor Returners and also my one-on-one mentorship. Next, I also have a series of articles and videos on the shadow integration process, in which I offer a free introductory guide, and in the end I plug my course Katabas is the Shadow Integration Manual and also my one-on-one mentorship. And finally, in the beginning of this video, I offered you a free report breaking down my business structure, and if you didn't get it yet, you also have time and you also have the chance to join my one-on-one business mentorship. So everything you send to your list and post on social media must be aligned with your offers, because getting this ecosystem right is what will get you more clients and sales. And the best way to learn what to offer is to ask your clients directly why they decided to hire. That is, what is the problem they want to solve? And once they start getting results, just ask them directly what tools made the most difference. And this is what has to be present in your content, lead magnet, landing pages, and course curriculum. So now let's talk about raising prices and finally creating multiple income streams. Now, speaking of courses, I must warn you about something, because long were the days you could record a bulky course with 20 modules and put a price tag of $2,000 on it and simply sell it on autopilot. And that's why there's a current narrative saying that courses are dead. But that's completely untrue. What happened is that the market evolved and is asking for more specificity. So instead of thinking about solving 15 different problems at once and recording 25 hours of material, it's better to break it down into small components. And this is especially important if you have a small audience, because you need a variety of offers to have repeat buyers. So here's what I mean. In the beginning, I made the mistake of spending months recording my Demystifying Jung and Psychology full curriculum. So it's pretty much a course that breaks down the entirety of Carl Jung's body of work with 20 plus hours of content. And on paper, it sounds amazing, but since it was my only offer and it was expensive, I only sold a few units. And because it wasn't super specific, it's also a bit harder to sell. So I finally understood I had to break it down into smaller courses, and I turned it into 6 different offers. So now I have Catabasis, the Shadow Integration Manual, Conquering the Pure Eternus, Psychological Types Unraveled, Animus and Anima Decoded, Active Imagination Deciphered, and The Art of Dream Interpretation. So now I can offer the entire bundle just as before, and I can play with different offers during the year. And this variety and specificity make it easier to sell and also attract more repeat buyers. But it's important to understand the role of evergreen offers and launches, because depending on the type of the course, one will be better than the other. So in evergreen offers, your landing page is pretty much up all the time and people can decide to purchase whenever they want. And this works well with specific and small courses. And the typical price point of an evergreen offer is like $29, $49, $99, and sometimes $199. But if you want to shoot for higher prices, such as $499 or $1,000, you have to prepare a launch and or use a live course style of 4 to 8 weeks of meetings. But regardless of what you choose, the truth is that it's best to implement both as they feed into one another. And because without playing with launches, evergreen offers always go stale. So here's how I combine these different offers to generate more profit. So I have a $99 evergreen offer that always generates a few sales per month. And this offer prepares people for my one-on-one mentorship and for my more expensive courses. And this course is Catabasis, the Shadow Integration Manual, which is basically an introduction to Jungian psychology. So this course makes people interested in knowing more. So when I launch a live course or my Demystify Jung Psychology full curriculum, people are more prone to buying. And also, a lot of people want to see you in action before hiring you. But once they see you know your stuff, they come ready to be mentored. It's interesting, but my best long-term one-on-one clients purchase something cheap from me first. And when you have all of these resources available, it's easy to raise your prices and select better clients as well. Because nowadays, all of my mentees receive full access to my whole course catalog. And this also keeps them more engaged, committed, and constantly bringing new material because they are learning from the courses and my book. And finally, the best way to start expanding from one-on-one client work is by creating a new 60 to 90-minute live workshop every single month, as this allows you to test your audience, identify which ideas resonate, and also refine your teaching skills, because you can always repeat the winners or turn them into something bigger. So as you can see, the different parts of this model feed into one another. Now is the time to decide how you want to structure your income. So the first step in implementing this model is to determine a fixed number of clients per week. And I don't recommend having more than 3 days of one-on-ones because you need time to develop these other skills and also live your life. So once you pick your number, such as 12 or 15, you must commit to this number of clients no matter what, because this will allow you to control your demand, have a wait list, and also raise your fees. That's how I went from charging $50 per session to now $200 per session. So once the basics are covered, you can start modulating your income. And I started by securing an extra $1,000 every month from course sales. And as I increased it, I started diminishing my number of one-on-one clients. And today my cap is 10 clients per week. And as you develop these skills and grow your audience, you can limit your one-on-ones even further. And that's the power of a newsletter-based business, because it allows you to make money on your own terms without depending on one-on-one client work. So now I have more freedom to choose when I want to step back from one-on-ones. I have a passive income from course sales every month, and I can protect myself against cancellations and holiday seasons. And I can also increase my profits by taking advantage of dates such as Black Friday or Christmas. And these two alone generated an extra salary for me last year. So to conclude, that's why relying on one-on-one client work is a broken system. I mean, apart from the emotional burnout and income stability, your income ceiling is also quite low as you're always trading all of your time for money. So if you want my personal help to implement this business model, you can check my business mentorship down below.